For my creating project, I chose to use a wiki for book clubs in my classroom. The reason that I chose a wiki is that it has a large focus on collaboration skills. This is an area that a lot of my students struggle with. I find that if I have them work in groups, some will refuse to do work, others do most of the work. So with a wiki, students will be working in groups but are all required to complete part of the assignment on their own. So I'm hoping that this will help build their collaboration skills. That is a big skill needed for the future. Another reason I'm using a wiki for my book clubs is that I want to focus on my students' comprehension skills. Reading is an area where a lot of my students struggle. I teach 6th grade but have a wide range of levels. Some students are at a 2nd grade level, others are at a 9th grade level, so I have different books at different levels that I'm having my students work with to meet all of their needs. So I'm hoping that this will help build all of their comprehension skills no matter what level they're at. And lastly, I think with all technology, these tools are motivating and engaging. And I have quite a few students that lack motivation in the classroom. However, some of them would sit on the computer and play games all day if I let them. So just being in front of the computer is motivating for some of my students. So I'm hoping that by using a wiki to complete their assignments, that this will kind of get their motivation and engagement levels up while completing reading work too. So I plan to complete these 2 lessons soon, so I will find out what happens. So what I'm going to do is walk you through both of the lessons, and then I will take you to the actual class wiki that I made to show you exactly what the students would be doing. So for the first lesson, this is a focus on their comprehension skills. The materials needed would just be a computer with the internet, the class wiki, which I've already created, and then the book that they read for their book clubs. And then each group would complete the comprehension assignment on their own book page. I have linked different pages on our class wiki that designate where they put their own assignments based on the book that they read. And again, this is a focus on comprehension and collaboration skills. It's pretty much basic comprehension skills that they're focusing on, which again I will show you shortly. But the students would be required to complete the assignment on their own wiki page, and all students would be required to participate in this lesson. And I created a rubric that the students would be able to see ahead of time to make sure that they're completing everything that needs to be done before their due date is up. For the second lesson, I created a book recommendation assignment. Again, the materials would be, again, a computer with internet, the class wiki, and then I threw in some other resources, Glogster, Google Docs, or Bubble. And this lesson has 2 parts. The first part is a written assignment where the students would write a book recommendation to others. And on the class wiki, I've posted some questions that can kind of help guide their thinking, because I know many of my students would try to do the bare minimum if I let them. So I have some questions that can kind of get the wheels turning to hopefully guide their thinking. And then the second part would be that the students would create an advertisement for their book using one of the 3 resources listed above. And for the Google Docs, it's actually a presentation, so it would be like a PowerPoint presentation but online. So their advertisement would need to be uploaded to their wiki page, and then at the very end of this lesson, each group would do a presentation to show the rest of the class their advertisement and talk about their book that they read. The different instructional strategies used in these lessons include modeling. In the first lesson, I would show the students exactly how to edit their wiki page and, add on to the pages already existing. In the second lesson, I would model for them how to upload a file. I have already used Blogster, Google Docs, and Bubble in my classroom, so I wouldn't model these for them, but if you hadn't used these, I would obviously go through in more depth and show the students how to use these resources as well. Another instructional strategy are my expectations that I would set at the beginning of the lesson, just what the students are expected or what it should look like if they're on task doing their work. And I think having the rubrics ahead of time also state my expectations and what I'm looking for in these assignments. The different comprehension skills allow for higher level thinking skills, which obviously helps them gain more knowledge in that sense. The second lesson has the students presenting, which helps work on their speaking skills, the delivery skills. And then these two lessons would be used upon completion of our book club, so they would be used as a form of assessment for my students. So I will take you to my group or my class wiki page. So this is the home page. I hope to use this page again for other assignments, but right now it just has our reading and book clubs. So it lists at the top, these are the different books that my students are reading right now, and they are linked to blank pages where each group would post their assignments on their own page. So I've already done that for them, and they would just paste their information onto their own page. So here's the first assignment, which is their comprehension skills. And it has 6 different questions, a focus on a character analysis, making connections, summarizing, sequencing, analyzing the plot structure, and talking about the setting. So these are different things in the past that I have done with students after we've read books, but I'm hoping using the wiki aspect of it will be a little bit more motivating for them. So each of these explain what should be included, how many connections they need to make, or how many sentences to write, because again, my students would try to do the bare minimum if I let them. And then at the bottom, I have linked the rubric so the students can see how they're going to be assessed. So they can click here. I made this rubric on Rubistar. It has just the different categories along the side, and then what needs to be included and how they'll be graded on that. And then the second assignment down here is their book recommendation. As I mentioned, it is 2 parts. So this first part says they will write a recommendation of the book, and it needs to be at least 5 paragraphs. So again, I'm setting the expectations for them so they know what needs to be included. And hopefully my students are in 6th grade, so they know how to write a paragraph and how many sentences should be included in that. So I'm hoping for a pretty lengthy recommendation here. So as I mentioned before, this has different questions that kind of guide their thinking about would they recommend this book to a friend, about the ending, about a character, and obviously it is not limited to these questions. And then for the second part, the students would choose one of the 3 resources at the bottom, and these are just the general links that take them to the home page. I did mention that I've already used these resources with my class, so my kids know that they have a login and they wouldn't need to go through setting up an account and all of that stuff. So if you were to use this, I would recommend doing that ahead of time so they know how to use these different tools. But for this, I explained that they have to use images, music, and text to make their advertisement appealing, and then this would need to be uploaded to their group page. So they only need to have one advertisement, which could be done by one student, or a couple of students could work on it together. But I did put 2 parts to this assignment, so they're all required to contribute to the recommendation and then create an advertisement. Again, I have a rubric down here at the bottom which explains how they'll be assessed, so it has the book recommendation, and then I'm also focusing on their sentence structure, capitalization and punctuation, and spelling, because that's a big focus in our classroom. And then they're also graded on their advertisement. So this is there for them, so they can look at this while they're being assessed, or I'm sorry, while they are creating their assignments, so they know exactly what is expected of them. So these are the 2 assignments or 2 lessons that I created, and I'm planning on starting these shortly after we come back from winter break, because most of my kids are starting to finish up their books. So I'm hoping I might get some better results than I have in the past of just using a paper and pencil to complete these. So those are my assignments for my creating project. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.